Right, morning. Welcome everybody. Friday, the 19th of March. Yeah, it's quarter gone just about already. Can you believe it? 2020 disappeared in a puff of smoke, and 2021 is heading the same way fairly rapidly. So what are we talking about this morning? We're talking about the secret to success is right in front of us. So is the secret to success really a secret, or is it not? So that is the magic question. So we better get across to the magician in the group and get him to unravel this. So Trevor, yeah, over to you.
What? I thought the topic was going to be a discussion on Jasper's book.
So did I, actually.
Yep. So I think we should switch to Jasper quickly, because within that book are the secrets to success. So that'll help you out, Ivan. I'm saving you from a dismal collapse online publicly. So Jasper,
Well,
come on board.
I have the email in front of me, and it says essay Wisdom's Chats Friday, 19th of March 2021. Secret to success is right in front of us.
Yeah, well, that's why Lee avoided coming on board, because she knew there was going to be chaos as a result of that. But
my email mentions Jasper's book. It actually mentions legacy.
All right, so stop arguing, people,
It does
because Laura's going to leave us. Jasper, come on board.
I love you made a beautiful segue. The secret of success is in Trevor's book, or Jasper's book. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well done.
All right.
You see, all we need is a lady to keep us in check here. So.
Exactly.
All right, guys. So yeah, the request yesterday was that I just give a quick appraisal of the book, and then we can discuss other issues, because this certainly is not the total secret of success, but it certainly touched on some of the issues of success, and it came about as a result of being challenged 12 years ago about the question of why do we have families like these generational families that are just way ahead of the curve versus the majority of people who just struggle on a day-to-day basis. And then it dropped in my spirit that it's about mindset, and mindset was about whether I think short-term, me and my life, versus the lives of the people who come after me. So the book then was shaped after about 12 years of working through all these concepts. And like Trevor said yesterday, we are all the product of the books we read and the people we meet. So I had huge influence in coming to this conclusion from books like The Richest Man in Babylon and Robert Kiyosaki's books and various speakers. And then in 2016, when I started to work on my book was when I met Trevor. By that time, he was already a prolific writer and author, and he took me under his wings and he helped me to shape the text in a way that was more readable. But the essence of it, I'm just going to quickly give you the essence of the book. So the book came about as to say, if we can glean the secret of how did these generational families start, and obviously every founding parent of those generational families has a story to tell of hardship and got the odds against him, but how he overcame the odds. But they did more. They also laid down principles and structures and systems, and they made sure that their second generation know what they've been through, so that the second generation could build on it. And now 3-4 generations later, these families are our heroes in society, although the media and politicians doesn't like them. But I call them heroes because they provide sustainable jobs to hundreds of thousands of citizens from all walks of life. So if we want a better future, we need to have more such founding fathers who discover their purpose and become the founding fathers of their legacy. So I'm just going to quickly take over the screen, and I hope I've got the right one here.
No, that's your email to Ed, Jasper.
So, okay, so you still can't see that one. Let me just stop there. No, stop. All right, so if you can see there, the essence of the book is summarized in this slide that says to move from a one-generational mindset to a three-generational mindset, you go through the journey of the 4 S's. And the first S is then struggle, and struggle is this, depicted by this pie chart that says your expenses exceed your income and you're constantly in a negative cash flow. And you're constantly worried, and your mood, internal mood, is one of constant hopelessness. And if people stay there too long, then they get to the stage where the youngsters of today don't care to then destroy things. So you need to get people out of that. The only way you can do it is work on the income side, and we propose that people think of 3 or more sustainable income streams. And then on the expense side, people won't be ready to do the necessary sacrifices unless they have this vision of, if I'm not doing it, who's going to do it, and become that founding father. As they get onto the program, and we've got support in place for each of these processes, they move to stability, where income now exceeds expenses and they have a little surplus. And in the beginning stages, those surpluses are so small that people tend to fall back into consumption and buy things that they don't need. So unless you then help people to focus on moving forward, they squander that little surplus and they oscillate between stability and struggle. But they only move out of stability to success when they have 3 or more sustainable and growing income streams. And by that time, expense is a small component of the whole thing, and they move ahead. And we say at that stage, don't leave your stage, become an expert and tweak your 100 Rand to become 1,000, and 1,000 to become 10, and a 10 to become 100. And in doing so, that makes you attractive and to other entrepreneurs. And now when you meet my 3 plus, between me and Trevor, we can see how we can do number 4 together. And me and Ivan can see how we can do number 5 together. And that's how these generational families have started to grow. And today, all these generational families have a business interest around the world, no longer just in their nation. But we say you stay in this success stage and you become financially profitable, but it's not for the pure sake of making money. It is so that you can be significant. And we can't tell people what their significance must be. So for one person, it can be to run a soup kitchen in a squatter camp, and for another person to build more businesses so he can provide employment. So we're not judgmental on a person's significance. All we say is it's difficult to try and be significant when you are operating from struggle, whereas if you do it from success, that significance is sustainable. And then the picture at the bottom says, during this process, you'll move from just looking after your family and your family responsibilities, but as you move into business, the day will come that you can have a family office and devote all your time to the significant side of your business, whereas other professionals will take care of your life. And then another image that we use about legacy is the picture of the house. And we say every person is building his own legacy as a house. And in ancient text, it would talk of the house of Abram or the house of David, but it's not a physical house. It's a symbolic house. It's a process that was started in the life of David and carried through with his family after him. So we say that all our houses will look different and each of us will build a different house. So, but we use the same building materials and we use the same construct, which is we need a foundation, and we say that foundation is your wisdom or philosophy. And if your philosophy is wrong and you follow the philosophy of people that their philosophy has not been proven by time, then you're building on sand. So we say, who has been successful through the history? And we go back to the Israelites who came out of slavery and then were led into a promised land, but they first had to unlearn the wrong that they've learned in Egypt until they could then became the rulers. And then during the time of Solomon, because of that philosophy, they were so rich as a nation that they say in the ancient text that silver became as worthless as rocks on the streets of Jerusalem. So that's just the principle of philosophy. And then we say the walls of the house is wealth, or the understanding of what makes business sense. And the left is wellness, or the application of the knowledge. And then the roof is the worth or the purpose that you see for you and your family. So that's that side. Let me just get out of this one. And then the last part is, I just want to go to the website. Ivan, can you see the website?
No, we're still seeing your PowerPoint, Jasper. You just stop share and reshare.
Okay, let me just. All right. Then for those of you interested to take yourself through some of these courses, so the book is unpacking things like goal setting and basic budgeting and how to structure your family's legacy and a constitution. It goes into a lot of depth, but to give you an indication of what is ahead of you, you can take any of these shortcuts. So it's geek-institute.com, and then we bring everybody in on the same level of thinking, where we say, go through a course which teach you then the message of Geek and the 4 S's and also our bank products. It then takes you through another one, which is a generational goal setting course. And the last one is then a generational budgeting course. So people can then look at that, and if they're interested, continue the journey and become the founding parent of their legacy. So with that, I hand back to you, Ivan.
Thanks, Jasper. Yeah, I think that set the tone nicely, despite the false start that we had. Thanks to me, and I stand corrected. You know, I mean, what can I say? All these wise heads around me keep on putting me in my place. Just one of those. So one of those crosses I've got to bear.
I'm going to correct you again. You were actually right. So I've put the extract in the chat. So well done, Ivan.
Right. So after all of that, so thanks Jasper. Yeah. So let's see. So Laura, it's probably your very first exposure to this. I think the rest of us have different levels of exposure to Jasper's concepts and his idea of legacy. So love to hear your thoughts on what he's said and your perceptions on where success truly lies.
Well, my degree's in child development and family studies, so the legacy and generational connection, and it's very it's quite relevant to my education and what I've done with my professional career. Just in regards to legacy, I think about where I'd like to, or how I'd like the world to be when I'm gone. And when I think about that, did I leave the world a better place than when I came in it? And to what extent did I make a difference in the eyes of a child? I don't know if any of you have ever seen the movie Phenomenon with John Travolta and Robert Duvall. They had a party after he died. That's a spoiler alert. And I think about that. I mean, I don't want people to grieve. I mean, yeah, I hope someone like, it'd be nice if she were here. But at the same time, I'd rather have them, just have a party. So there's a song, actually, it's based on a poem, and it's called The Dash. And I think I'm not going to play it. Yeah, The Dash Between the Years. Like, we focus on these numbers, and this doesn't, they're like bookends. They don't encapsulate my entire experience living on this earth. And what kind of mark do I want to leave? I mean, think about even just when a baby is conceived, when a person is conceived, how small that is, even the size of an egg, and how small the sperm is. If I'm not even a little pinprick on my desk here, nothing. And if I can, and then I think about what difference will I make? Well, if you have a bed of snow and you place some salt on it, you bet that salt is going to make a difference in that snow. So who am I to say what legacy is? Did it matter? Did any of it matter? Maybe we are this, maybe we are the science experiment. Maybe we are in the terrarium. Maybe we are the ones being manipulated. I'm not all about conspiracy theory. I'm not saying that. It's just something that, like, someone said that to me once. I thought, oh, I never thought about that. I hope not. In a way, did it matter? Do I matter? So when I leave, what will be said about me when I leave the room? And more importantly, how did I make them feel? Not what I said. How did they feel? That's my legacy.
Yeah, all good questions, all good philosophical questions. So, yeah, Ed, can you bring us down to earth? Can you put a bit of salt on Laura's snow and see what happens to it?
I like Laura because she just said I'm not a prick, which is quite good. I think actually what you said, not even a little prick, I think you said. Yeah, I think I like the theory of Jasper's model, but I don't believe it. And I think it's because it doesn't go far enough. Because I was just working out, I can trace my family history back to the Doomsday Book, which was in 1086. So that's 362 generations. So someone cocked up along the line somewhere. And in the model, you start with the struggle. Well, if this whole generational thing works, no one should start from the struggle, because they're benefiting from the previous generation and the previous generation and the previous generation and the previous generation. And I think about a company I know in America. It's a sock company. I used to sell running socks, so I'm big into socks. And it's a fantastic company. It's a fourth generation American company based in a place called Sheboygan. And I can see it now starting not to fall apart, but not be the generational thing it was, because previously the CEO has always been a member of the family. And now they're bringing in people from outside. Some of the family want to go off and do other things. They want to be writers, or they want to be, you know, whatever they want to be, surfers or whatever. So the company is no longer part of the family. It's moved on. So I think, you know, that the whole idea of it staying within families doesn't work, because families then want to go off and do different things. So yeah, but I think we were talking about success, and I do think success, and I think Trevor touched on it. Well, no, actually, no, it was Jasper saying he got help from Trevor. And I think that is the secret of success, is to ask for help. You can't do everything by yourself. So if you need to have, if you want success, you have to ask for help and say, I don't know all the answers. I don't know all the stuff. I just need to ask other people. And I think, you know, one of my great successes in business was when I took over being the chief executive of this insurance company. It was in a mess. So the first thing I did was arrange a meeting with my competitors and say, look, we've got these problems. What are your problems? What are your answers? What is, and we then got a group of us all in roughly the sort of same situation, and we shared experiences and we cooperated where we didn't compete. So I think asking for help is the answer to success. It's weird because gig to me has a completely different meaning. And I don't know whether it's filtered over to your part of the world, but we talk about the gig economy, which is about people, depending on where you sit, being exploited by people like Google and Amazon and Uber and all that sort of stuff, or it's people being really flexible and able to have a work-life balance, but depends on which side you venture. So a bit of a ramble because I kind of I really didn't know how to deal with this subject, but yeah, I don't think the generational thing works. And look what Trump's done with his inheritance from his family. I think he started off with so many billion and he's managed to lose most of it.
Okay, well, sure. Okay, yes, but your theories have just been trashed, so we'll give you an opportunity to respond to that just now. But yeah, theories, laws. What is the other one we had here? So yeah, can they be proven or disproven? Yeah, I don't know. I think it all comes down to the matrix. Which system are you plugged into? So, Trevor, over to you. Can you disconnect us, or are you going to connect us further into this entanglement?
Well, look,
entanglement?
I've got news for Ed, as usual. That this book, Legacy, is way better than his favorite book, Animal Farm. And I think there are a couple of things that I wanted to touch on. I was so surprised that Laura didn't have a full go at Jasper as he was being sexist, talking about founding fathers. What about the founding mothers, of course? Yeah. Right. Okay, Laura, you and I, us girls must stick together here. I mean, it's as simple as that. And then, there's something I just wanted to get back to that point of that the secret of success is right under our noses. Just going through all of these books yesterday as we were pulling out our 5 books only, and I had a quick flip through Jasper's book, Legacy. That's what stimulated my thought with it. And I thought, you know what, I'd selected these world famous authors and all that sort of thing. And just flipping through the chapters and seeing a couple of the points of legacies, of Jasper's legacy, it's just as good, if not better, than any of those famous authors and their books that Ed completely ignores. He doesn't even read books. So he says he's got 1 or 2 books, and then he says it's pointless reading anymore. Once he's read one book, Animal Farm, that's his view on life. Ed, are you with us? And what I'd like really for people to do is to take this book of Jasper's, go and read it, and then go and analyze the simple 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5 things that he's talking about. And I disagree with Ed again. That's why I love being on this forum, because Ed pushes my buttons. When I grew up, I wish that my mother and father had thought about taking out insurance policies and endowments and leaving it to their kids, because I was never left anything. I had nothing, squat. And I think where Jasper is going down the road is, you know what, while you're alive, you can start making a significant difference to those that come behind you. And I think that's where Laura was going. What is my legacy? And Jasper has encapsulated that in this publication. And when we talk about the secret of success is right under your nose, this book, Legacy, has been under my nose, and it suddenly struck me today that 2020 reframed our minds completely, that we now all working from home on a global scale. Well, many of us who have the privilege to be able to do that, and that this legacy could actually be a global movement. And someone like Ed and someone like Laura could actually be driving this global movement, but adding tweaks and enhancements to the whole concept. So I think Jasper with this book has actually planted a seed, but at the moment, for a seed to grow, it requires more people to take those seeds and water that seed, to plant it and water it and make it grow. And I think we have people here that could do it, and we could start doing that on a global basis. Does Jasper have all the answers in this book? Probably not. Does he push some of my buttons? Absolutely, he does. But does it make you think? And does it bring a call to action? And if I can go back to something that I thought was quite profound during this week, Ed, and that was something that you stimulated that had me thinking, what was it about enablee and inhibitee? Do you remember that? I think what Jasper is doing in this is giving us the responsibility to either be an enabler or to be an inhibitor in future generations. And we're missing it completely. So you know what, if we want to do something significant, and I'm going to put a challenge here, geez, I'm so scared to do this because Ed, Laura, from the UK perspective and from a US perspective, and I was talking to Sally Anderson today in New Zealand and Doyle in Australia before I came on to these sessions. How do we in the UK start planting these seeds and stop making legacy this little Johannesburg concept, but a global concept with tweaks related to, you talked of being in the insurance industry in the UK. This gig and what Jasper has done here can grow out of the UK into Europe, can grow out of the US. And Laura talking legacy, here's a guy who's put a framework together around legacy that I've never seen anywhere in the world. This could be huge. Anyway, I'm not one that has an eye open to opportunity. And sorry, I talked over you there, Laura. What did you say?
I said, when's your TED Talk?
No, I don't know.
And Jasper, when's your TED Talk?
My TED Talk.
Your TED Talk, when's your TED Talk?
I don't know. I don't know how you get that kind of platform, but I'm willing to share the message whenever it's available.
Trevor likes to flip things around, and he's going to talk to his TED.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Ed.
All right. So yeah, Jasper, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to respond to Ed. So go for it.
No, I threw my teddy away a long time, but I've got my blankie still, and I sucked my thumb. Yeah.
Okay, so Trevor's just taking 15 seconds of your 30 seconds, Jasper, so now you're down to 15 seconds.
No, I think, I obviously enjoyed this morning because it was about my favorite topic. And Edward is quite right. If this theory was applied, and it's not just theory, I mean, the lives of the generational families are there around us to see. But it is a constant challenge. How do you perpetuate this momentum in a family? And if each successive generation don't see themselves as the founding parents of their legacy, but they're just the consumers of what was done before, then this thing then break apart. And the whole purpose of writing that book and starting the movement was to instill in people the secret, and the secret is that every successive generation must see themselves as the founding parents to keep growing this thing and to keep maintaining this thing. But the reality is, because they haven't done it, 99% of the world finds themselves in struggle. So the book then starts with the whole premise of, when you're in struggle, how do you get out and move forward? Yes, Trevor, you are officially appointed as the manager for the Legacy Group, because you do it so passionately and so successfully. And Laura, I'm waiting for your invitation on the TED Talk, organizing it for me. But like Trevor said, it's not a finished work. It's I've just been fortunate to be given the framework, but now we need to color it in, and we need to give it flesh, and we need to put it in the context of the various nationalities and cultures. So it will be interesting to see where it goes from here.
Great, thanks, Jasper. Yeah, look, success is never a finished work, in my opinion. This is a journey; it's not a destination. It's a road we travel, and we have to pick up the clues along the way, and the clues are all around us. And so yeah, back to the subject of the email, not the body of the email. I believe it's all there in front of us. We've just got to open our eyes and look, and be prepared to actually take the action, to try and do the things that other people have done, which have achieved successes in whatever sphere of life it is. Otherwise, we just retire to our cubicles in the matrix and stay plugged in and do what we're told to do, like good little AI bots that we are, and behave yourselves. So, and of course, in a group like this, that's an almost impossible thing to achieve, because nobody behaves, and everybody does what they want to do when they want to do it, which is what makes it so great. So, topic for Monday. Who's got a topic for Monday? Give me a topic for Monday.
Ed had a great one at the beginning of the discussion, but I can't remember it.
Was that about sock fetishes?
About what?
Sock fetishes.
Sock fetishes, that was it, yeah. No, it was this whole thing about I actually did a series of videos with a sock puppet, which was really quite good. It was about this whole thing about free will, you know, because it started out because we had this magician who asks you to think of something, and then he knows what you're thinking, but he only does that because he's manipulated you to think about that thing. And then we have this whole thing about nudge theory, where people try and change behaviors by doing certain things. And I just wondered, and they say the great thing about politics in the UK is that we think we've got choice. So it's the thing, do we really have free will? Do we have free will, or are we manipulated?
Okay,
Those are my thoughts.
fantastic. Well, let's go down that route. I mean, we started off with Laura's little prick, and now we've got Ed's free willy, so you know we might as well just take the route.
I think we need Lee to come back to bring some order.
On that, I think
we'll just you mustn't come back. I want this.
Okay, have a fantastic weekend, folks. We'll see you on Monday. Cheers now.